Pace with control of this race. Here comes a run from Davey Hazard. He blocks the 10. Not going to be enough. Ryan Pace is going to win at Talladega.
Tauri trying to hold off Wilson. He's done a good job so far. Wilson, one last desperate attempt to the bottom. He won't get there. Nick Curry wins at Bristol.
Coming out turn number 2, coming down the back straightaway here. Looks like he's in a class of his own right now.
Merzlak, one final time, get around the 55, big time send.
He hits the wall, he hits it, he gets the lead, but can he hang on to it? Oh my goodness, he made it to the line!
Big push down the backstretch is going to give him a good run through the corners.
It's a little bit
follow from the 1.
A little bit of contact there for second, but coming to the line, Toby Roberson's going to take home the checkered flag and victory here from the new Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Before I wrap things up here in this segment, your thoughts on the type of race we're going to see tonight? And I would have to agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to tonight's feature presentation of the United States Online Racing League AlphaTauri Cup Series here, live on JTN. As always, I'm your host, JoeTowNetwork. Alongside me tonight, he has been an awesome addition to our team here through the first 6 months of 2022. You know him as the second half of our Cup of Joe booth, Mr. Joseph Weaver.
Man, Joe, hard to hear you say we're already 6 months through the year, but I'm glad I've been here for all 6 of them so far. I hope we keep it going with another great race tonight with the USORL people.
Another great race with the USORL tonight. Currently in happy hour, folks, so in mere moments, Weaver will be reading off that starting lineup to you. But first, I want to take you through tonight's Circle B Diecast race preview. Remember, you can use code JTN to check out for free shipping on your order of $30 or more at CircleBDiecast.com. Again, that's code JTN to check out. 100 laps here around this 2-mile super speedway. 2.5-mile super speedway. I think it's 2.667, so Graphic Team already off to a blazing hot start tonight here, Weaver. 100 laps, though, the folks at home, and we are in the chase here. Race number 5 after Watkins Glen last week. It's still the one and only Davey Hazard on top of the board, Weaver.
Yeah, Joe, here at Talladega, the great equalizer, like you said, 2.67 repeating length and distance here, super speedway racing, so it's anybody's game. It's our high-speed chess match, and to have it in the playoffs, it really shakes things up here.
And a couple other notes there in the points. Sean Whitehill started off this championship battle outside the top 10 in the final points, has moved up into 5th. Teammates Darren Ingram and Noah Joyce residing right now 3rd and 4th in points inside the top 5. Know that those two cars will work together and be very good here tonight. And a couple big heavy hitters here on the Super Speedway is not with us tonight in Ryan Pace in the number 15, as well as the 57 of Tommy Bordeaux. Tommy not here in Talladega tonight. Don't think anyone else out of this chase grid is missing. I could be wrong. I think Cam Barnes also not racing with us tonight. I believe it's Cal Lovall in that number 12 tonight. But Weaver, with all that being said, why don't you take us through tonight's starting lineup?
All right, sounds good, Joe. Starting off on pole position with a time of 47.487 is going to be the 18 of Ray Tustin. Starting the outside of him, outside pole position, the 45 of Sean Whitehill. Row 2 is comprised of the 75 of Davey Hazard and the 1 of Steven Merzlak. Row 3, we have the 36 of Dewey Schramm III and the 01 of Huang Do. Row 4, we have the 57 of Ricky Collette and the 3 of Darren Ingram. Row 5, we have the 00 of Henrietta Bordeaux and the 4 of Zach Krastowski. Row 6 is the 29 of Chris Pickett and the 11 of Antonio Ruiz. Row 7 is the 16 of Garrett Sidnor and the 32 of DJ Harris. Row 8 is the 77 of Jack Healy and the 12 of Cal Lovall. Rounding out the field in the last row, we have the 14 of Jeff Dixon and the 31 of Noah Joyce.
So a smaller super speedway field here tonight for the USORL. We talked about it. We're missing Ryan Pace, who won here at Talladega earlier on this year, and also won last time out at Daytona. So 2 of our 3 super speedways wins not accounted for. That third one, though, so far this season is accounted for here in the form of Jack Healy in the number 77 Toyota. Another note, we talked about our colleague Ricky Collette actually stepping behind the wheel, the number 57 TWB Incorporated Enterprises conglomerate machine, normally piloted by our very own Tommy Boyd. There's a lot of guys that have driven that 57 car this year, Weaver, that just there's ties to JTN. It's crazy how that works, but Ricky stepping behind the wheel of the 57 here tonight. And another interesting note, if we can find him, not out there on track just yet, but we'll talk about it more. Chris Pickett coming off the surgery a few days ago, or just got released from the hospital a few days ago, so out here at Talladega, so pulling an old, I don't want to call it a Hocevar, because, apparently there's a fight in the crowd in the truck race right now, so if you're tuning in to JTN, hopefully you got us on one of your multiple screens, or you're telling folks to tune in as well. We always appreciate when you folks give us the shout-outs, give us the tags, and all that. Like, you can follow us on Twitter at JoeTowNetwork.
You can't think of a better way to spin a stage caution than fighting in the grandstands.
Is that really what's going on right now? Because I
couldn't be sure. I know before we went on air, I had the race on. They were just finishing up stage 2, so I assume with the way cautions work there at Knoxville, they take a little while. So they may have just went back green, may not have.
Yeah, JDog88 telling us about the fan angle of the Jessica Friesen flip. I've been very disappointed with Fox's coverage of the Knoxville truck race. The heats was, I thought the coverage for the heat races was pretty good, and then it kind of tailed off. I was also, and we're here in Happy Hour. We could really talk about these stories, like talking about how Davey Hazard has. We flip that graphic back up on your screen, has that 32-point lead over Huang Zhou with 6 races to go, including tonight here in the chase. But 32 points, almost getting into that territory where it's almost an insurmountable lead there for Davey Hazard.
Absolutely, Joe. Davey Hazard got himself out to a good lead. He's been saying he's driving some of the best that he feels he's ever driven in the game of NR 2003. But as we've seen, all it takes is one problem, one mistake to really start that downfall. And there's no bigger place to make a big mistake than Talladega. If something happens to him here, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Going to open that door wide open for the rest of the field.
With the way PTR has been on these super speedways this year, are you worried that Davey doesn't have a teammate out there on track tonight?
I'm not necessarily worried. Davey can definitely go out there, and he knows how to work with people on super speedways. He could find somebody to work with. He's got friends here in this league, so
I think he just flipped one of his friends there, and Steven Merzlak, in the one here in Happy Hour. So
it gave him a little love tap there, but I don't think he'll have any problem finding a dancing partner tonight.
Phil Lacasse tuning in. Welcome, Phil. As always, best in the business, Phil Lacasse. So, thank you. Phil's the man, Weaver.
Oh, I love Phil. don't get to talk to him as much nowadays, but man, there's some good times we used to have back there in the SRA.
Oh, see with the big Phil in chat. I love it. Henrietta Bordeaux there in the 00. And there's a pit party going on. Are you a fan of pit parties?
I feel like it's a good way to get a feel of how the car is going to run. I always thought it was kind of funny. People get a little snarky in chat when they want to go out alone and run a couple laps alone at a super speedway, like being going to be in a pack for the whole race. So I definitely prefer to be in a pit party, as long as everybody's actually driving and not just wrecking half a lap into it.
And we got some fine Saturday night racing coming at you tonight. Elisan, and if you want to see Elisan and some of those other Maverick Cup Series folks, remember you can tune in Tuesday nights to JTN for the Maverick Cup Series action. We're at Kentucky this week. Ricky going to be joining me up in the booth for that one. We got a bunch of great racing here on JTN. So if you're tuning in here for the start, you're catching happy hour right now. These guys getting warmed up, and by getting warmed up, they're probably going to wreck them up here in a moment or two, knowing the USORL. But Weaver, just a bunch of great racing here on JTN. And folks at home, if you're not already, you got to make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, Joe, like you said, a lot of great racing coming up. A lot of great racing we've already had so far this season. Had a couple good ones last week, and it's really been a good trend so far this season. We've had a lot of great races, building up a great back catalog for people to go back and watch when they need something to. You're sitting down with your food, you need something to watch, pop on a JTN race, see what's going on.
How many minutes we have left here in happy hour?
Looking like about 4 minutes now, Joe.
So J-Dog, give us about 5 minutes, and we should be racing here from Talladega. As we're still, we're flipping down here in 3 and 4. There's probably a lot of crew chiefs on pit road that don't think we need this extra practice. I have no idea how our buddy Chris Pickett does the 45 minutes of pre-race when he's calling these AlphaTauri Cup Series races, Weaver. I have no idea.
Better than us at that, Tell you what, sometimes the wrecking in the packs and happy hour could be beneficial. Get a little practice on your wreck avoidance. I don't think anybody in that pack avoided that wreck.
No, I don't think so.
Everybody got collected, but it does give you a fun challenge. See what kind of moves you can make defensively, getting around wrecks, and how aggressive of a move you can make. Say you're up top and the wreck happens. How quickly can you cut it down to the bottom without spinning yourself out?
Indeed. Hey, I see a car out there that's a new livery, new paint scheme. Number 18, Ray Tustin, with the Buc-ee's colors. You a Buc-ee's fan? I know there's one down there in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, Joe, big fan of the Buc-ee's down here. They opened up not too long ago, got a lot of gas pumps, never waiting on gas, always saving about 20, 30 cents a gallon, at least 20. Definitely helping, especially in times like these where gas is getting higher every day, it seems.
And no membership card, right?
Nope, it's just always seemed to be cheap. When you're selling gas at that level, got 200-something pumps at the station, you can afford to charge a little less. 200
pumps? There's no way.
Well, see,
that was hyperbole.
Pumps. No, it is 200 because you got two sides to every pump, and then you got, I believe there's two banks, and they're a good, close to a quarter mile long almost. It's
my goodness,
pretty big place. It's got a pretty similar footprint to a Walmart altogether, I would say.
Well, we're talking about gas station Walmarts here in pre-race on JTN. Again, we look back at those chase points, We talked about Davey with the big points lead. Really, where we could see some of the shuffling tonight is around, right behind Davey. You got Huang Do, 32 points back, then another 12 back to Darren, 5 more back to Noah Joyce, and then there's a bigger dip back to Sean Whitehill. Ryan Pace, again, we talked about not here, so that 15 will fall down the order, so will Cam Barnes. There's a lot of shuffling that could happen here further back in the points. But again, I look at Davey's lead, and I know I talk with him every week over on the Fake Racers podcast on JTN2, so this could be seen as some favoritism. But it really feels like at this point, as long as things stay the same, we talked about it, 3 of the 4 chase races have been won by driver 75. If things stay the way they are, a solid finish tonight, it really feels like the 75 team could have the title in the bag.
Yeah, Joe, I definitely think it's going to take one of those momentum shifts to get Davey off this run that he's having so far this postseason. But like I said, this is the momentum change track. I've heard rumblings through the garage that the 31 and Noah Joyce and the
3.
What number? 3 of Darren Ingram there. They've been working together, coming up with a plan tonight on how to attack this race and get a good finish. So I think they're looking to change the tides tonight. We'll see how that works for them.
And that's an interesting dynamic there too, right? Davey obviously bringing in Darren and Noah into the PTR stable going forward next year. We've talked about that a couple times now on broadcast. Just think back to Daytona, where the teamwork, of course, is just as important as here at Talladega, but really have to think about these drivers tonight. How do you deal with your competitors on track, and how do you deal with your teammates? Davy's just absolutely beating the crap out of the side of some cars here down the back straightaway. We saw that a few years ago, last lap of the race, with him and Darren.
Very memorable finish there with him and Darren coming to the end here at Talladega. See if we get something similar tonight. But like you said, Joe, it is something you got to consider about teammates. You know, you're going to have to work with somebody at least here at Talladega. But when it comes to the chase, you really just got to do your own thing. You're out there to win a championship for yourself. Nobody else is going to help you win your championship. So,
are you ready to go racing? I'm ready to go racing.
I think everybody here is ready to go racing. Here it's time to grit up these fresh new race cars for the race here.
Well, speaking of fresh, you can head on over now to the JTN merch store and pick yourself up some fresh JTN merch, including our designs highlighting select USORL Cup Series drivers. See some of those options there, including you, Joseph Weaver. You also got Mikey Muratis making his mark in USORL, Matthew Steelman's King of the Jungle, Davey Hazard's shoot car from last year, plus much, much more, again, available now on the JTN merch store. I don't know why I had to do the Joseph Weaver thing there, but I felt like I couldn't say Joseph without saying Weaver.
You know, it seems that way with a lot of people I know through the online communities, especially under racing. It's always Weaver first, Joseph second.
The fight we were talking... There's a command. The fight we were talking about earlier was a hockey fight, which makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. I think fighting when you're down, I believe, 6-7 goals last I heard, it's a sign of desperation. You want to change some things around if you're fighting with that score.
Hey, I don't fault him for it. On the pole tonight, Ray Tustin in the number 18 Bucky's Toyota, then Sean Whitehill outside. We talked about the 45 making a lot of progress here in those chase standings. Then Davey Hazard, the points leader, Steven Merzlak, and our very own Dewey Schramm sitting there in 5th. Again, folks,
Toyota lockout on the top 5 tonight.
Toyota lockup on the top 7. Top 7 cars are Toyotas. Toyota Racing, of course, very invested here in the USORL. Probably at least half the field Toyotas, unlike the NASCAR Cup Series, where it feels like it's almost half Chevrolet. Getting ready to go racing here. 100 laps around this beautiful 2.6 repeating mile super speedway. Tustin with control into the AlphaTauri start zone we go. Green flag, and we're underway here from Talladega.
Little shaky start getting there on the gas, off the gas. Kind of hard here, Joe. You got so long before you get to that start-finish line without a pace car. Really just controlling it yourself. Everybody acting clean here, getting down to the backstretch, though.
2 cars on the bottom compared to the 3 the outside, although Hazard giving Tustin a good push down the back straightaway. 18 nose just ahead. Whitehill, though, holding tough on the outside.
The field was fractured on that start, but they're starting to catch back up, and they're going to be 2x2 all the way through.
2 by... Through the tri-oval, it's going to be Sean Whitehill leading lap number 1, taking the bonus points that come along with it, with help from team owner and teammate at Apex Racing, Steven Merzlak there in 2nd. Like Steven going to drop out a line there in that Lowe's number 1, excuse me.
Dropping to the back here. You know, maybe he didn't feel like he could lead a lap just now. Drop to the back. Stay safe for the beginning of this race.
Whitehill, though, out in front. Loves to be out front here on the super speedways. Field roars off of turn number 4 here down the front straightaway. Still side by side throughout most of the front. Whitehill, though, is clear in the lead. Long toe behind him in the 0-1. You got Darren Ingram there in the 3. Third car in line there is 0-1. Going to go to the middle. That's going to put Whitehill by his lonesome there on the outside.
Very lonely feeling when you end up in a line all by yourself at a super speedway, especially when you're at the front of the pack. You know you got a long way to go before you get back in line. outside line just looking a bit stronger right now. A little tighter together, a little more organized.
There's some extra grip in that middle line that they're running right now, too. Because you say outside, but it's not like they're running up against that wall, running that Dale Jr. line.
That is correct, Joe. As we get on tonight, we'll probably see a little bit more. People are going to be fighting for that middle line. It really is a dominant line here at this Talladega that we run. Something to watch is people forcing others out of line. Usually a point of contact can cause cautions that way.
Darren Ingram, big move to the bottom.
Davey ending up in the middle now. Ray Tustin gets turned by Dewey.
And we got the big one.
Ray Tustin up and over.
Dewey Schramm involved. Sean Whitehill, also heavy damage on the driver's side. First caution of the night is out here on lap number 4. Well, Weaver, I didn't think we would get one of these this early on, but heavy contact there. Just a bump gone wrong, it would appear.
Yeah, just a bad bump going into the corner there. Collects the 45 of Sean Whitehill. Garrett Sidnor getting some. DJ Harris also a little bit of contact. Looks like they get away without too much damage. Dewey Schramm with a hard impact to the outside wall.
They drive in there, go on board with them in our TWB onboard camera with Ricky Collette. Incident happening right in front of him. Ricky gonna do a good job here slowing up, getting by. It's the car underneath him. Get another look at it with Chris Pickett in the 29. Fast 29 on board.
And DJ Harris has a view worth looking at there, Joe. He had some pretty good moves to get through that.
We're going pretty onboard heavy with this first one, and I love it. Bristol is having a day right now, Weaver. Oh my goodness, you're not wrong. Here we are. On board with DJ Harris.
I don't even know if he made contact with Dewey there. He might have got it slowed down just in time and then avoiding Ray Tustin as he spins down onto the apron.
Game of love tap, you know? That's what we like to call that.
Just a little bit. A little smooch.
One more on board with Sean Whitehill. That's why you want to stay out in front, right? Sean was obviously leading the first couple laps here and got shuffled to the back, and first wreck of the night. We were joking about it down in the garage area, but Whitehill involved in that first incident.
Yeah, absolutely tough break there for our entire front row, both ending up with the most damage out of that wreck.
Benjamin Snyder in chat, welcome in. Folks, we got some great races coming up here on JTN, presented by our friends at TWB Technologies, because together we are better. First, it's the Hobo Racing Truck Series from Knoxville. Dirt racing under the lights tomorrow night, 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Then the Maverick Cup Series heads to the Bluegrass State and the Kentucky Speedway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday, June 21st. Then the Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series resumes action Thursday, June 23rd, 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Those races, of course, live right here only on JTN.
Diverse schedule continues. We're going to hit some dirt tracks. We're going to hit your intermediates. We're getting it all.
Got some road courses with Velocity coming up at the end of the month, too. Also going to Nashville next Sunday night with Fast. We, like you said, we just got it all. I just wanted to reinforce that thought.
Fun mix of tracks, whatever you like to watch. We got a little bit of it here at JTN.
Then giving us a good point. That is the last race before the July break for the Maverick Cup Series. So get your last fill of Maverick Cup Series action this Tuesday night live right here on JTN. I do believe we should be coming back green. 0-1 of Huang Do going to have control here for the restart. Zach Krastowski up into second. So some Chevrolets there with Krastowski and Ingram. Second and third here for the restart. Into the AlphaTauri restart zone we will go. Green flag. We're back underway here from Talladega.
Huang Do getting a good launch on that inside line, but the help falls off after Davey there. Ricky's going to drop down low. Antonio Ruiz having a little bit of internet issues there coming to the green. Looks like they've ironed themselves out.
That's extra worrisome here on a super speedway, right?
Yeah, with how close you are, the time that you spend side by side, you really don't want to be doing that side by side working too often.
Up front, it's Huang Do with the lead. Darren Ingram, Davey Hazard, all clear. Top three clear of the side-by-side action there with Ricky Collette and Zach Krastowski.
Seeing about the exact opposite we saw from that first run. It really looked like the high side was what was rolling up in that first run. Now the outside kind of fell back. Now we see Davey Hazard, Ricky Collette jump to the outside together.
Well, there's nothing like an early wreck to make some drivers calm down, you know?
That's true, Joe, but I don't know if that's going to hold true for this race. We see Huang Do going to drop to the apron, go to the back. He wants no part of this battle at the front. He led his lap.
Hazard goes to the lead, getting a healthy push there from Ricky Collette in the 57. Ricky giving that car normally piloted by Tommy Bordeaux a good run here tonight to start this thing off. I think Tommy's out there watching.
I hope so. I hope he's had a good day. I think today would have been his last day of competition there in Michigan for the Formula SAE. But
It was a beautiful day too, Weaver. I mean, it was nice sunny skies, but not too hot. Good little breeze.
wish we could say the same down here, Joe.
I was going to say, I think it's like 115 down there, right?
It was pushing it today. I get a little bit of...
Oh, no.
It was another one of those bad bumps into the corner like we saw with our last wreck. Zach Krastowski there getting pushed by Steven Merzak, able to gather it up there.
Steven dropping to the back. That gave way for Chris Pickett to make it 3 wide in the 29 Cintas Ford.
Chris Pickett, like we said in pre-race, just coming off of a procedure this last week, had 57 ablations done on his heart. Out here running strong in third place, going to make a move to the inside. He wants to go to first.
Oh, he wants to get by that 57 car, prove that he's stronger than that number like he already did earlier this week. To the inside now, the 75 of Davey Hazard. Chris Pickett trying to take over the lead.
He's got help behind Garrett Sidnor, now Noah Sweet, sorry, somebody else. Noah Joyce there in the 31. Shout out to Noah Sweet, though.
You know, I've done some wrong names before, but man, Lear, that was about the weirdest you could do it.
Hey, I mean, at least it was another real person, so.
Fair enough. Chris Pickett out in front. You got Garrett Sidner blinking behind in that number 16.
Garrett Sidnor giving us a little magic trick there in the middle of this race. Not really the best time to do it, but he's showing off his skills. Chris Pickett also showing off his skills as he's going to lead another lap here.
Do you like magic tricks?
I'm a decent fan of magic. It's fun.
Yeah.
I like having fun.
What's your favorite magic trick?
I don't know if I have a favorite trick per se, but just a fan of the arts, you know?
What kind of arts?
All of them.
You're a big ska guy?
I could get I can listen to it. Ain't my favorite, but you know. I respect what anybody likes to listen to.
Benjamin, we're going to follow up on that question. Good question for Sean Whitehill. Is Brad's internet service a real company? I'll have to follow up with Sean on that.
I think that could get its whole own video on JTN2 there, Joe. The origins and the doings of Brad's internet.
Pickett going to go to that outside line, going to block Davey Hazard.
Nice move from the 29. Saw the momentum, the energy being built up in that outside line. Going up, blocking it off, gets the push, hops back down to the inside line.
Now, normally, Weaver, you'd be out there with these guys, right? We've seen you in the first 3 Super Speedway events of the year, giving way to Ricky this week, to let Ricky drive that 57. I know you were originally slated to be behind the wheel. These USORL Super Speedway events, they're much different than a lot of the other ones we've called here on JTN. From behind the wheel, do you feel the difference? Do you see a difference? Is my observation from up here in the tower in the booth different from yours behind the wheel?
Well, I don't think they're all too different to me, at least, Joe. I definitely drive them the same as I would any other league or series, but I do think there's a little bit more urgency in these races. That there really isn't that lull period usually.
Mm-hmm.
I think that definitely can set them apart from just watching this compared to other series running a super speedway.
Again, folks, Herculean effort right now by driver 29, Chris Pickett, out in front of the field. Didn't even know if he'd be racing tonight from Talladega, doing a great job. Got Dan Asher, his colleague, over at Fast 29. Remember, if you want to stay up to date with the USORL AlphaTauri Cup Series, Fast 29 covers the lion's share of these events, so you can head on over now, again, to Fast 29 here on YouTube, where Chris, Dan, and the crew broadcast a bunch of great USORL events, including the USORL AlphaTauri Cup Series. Again, Fast 29 over here on YouTube.
Davey has now electing to drop down to that inside line. He was clear of the 31, Noah Joyce there. Now he's going to make a move on the inside of Garrett Sidnor.
You got those teammates lined up there, 3rd and 4th on the inside line too, Weaver. I don't know if we've paid too much notice to the 3 and 31, but right now getting lined up, have to think that they're starting to ponder a move to get around the 75.
It took them a few laps, but like you said, Joe, they have found each other like we've seen them do on most super speedway races so far this season. 31 and 3 working together.
Both moves to the outside line. Davey also going to make that move. Going to get to the outside of Chris Pickett. That allows Noah Joyce to dive back to the bottom. Gets behind the 29. It's going to shuffle Davey back a few spots, but here comes help with some of those Toyota teammates. Garrett Sidner and Ricky Collette. Davey doesn't like it when you fake him out like that, Weaver. I've learned that from experience.
No, you could definitely tell it there. Davey Hazard held it nice and tight on that 31, going through turns 3 and 4 there, kind of letting him know he wasn't a big fan of that move here on lap 17.
I got cursed out for that move before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I made that same move with like 2 to go in a race. Then I ended up getting passed back by him, so I don't know what his deal was, but, you know, now we're colleagues over on the Fake Racers podcast, which you can find that and more over on JTN2. Again, it's your new home for all our non-live content here on the JoeTowNetwork. Again, JTN2, go check it out right here on YouTube at the conclusion of tonight's race. Chris Pickett still out in front. Noah Joyce, Darren Ingram, your top 3. Huang Zhou and Davey Hazard rounding out your top 5 side by side for the 4th position. Stronger help right now on the outside line, but Joe getting a good pull off of the number 3 of Darren Ingram.
We got about a 5-car breakaway here on the inside line. Big gap. Now is the 11 of Antonio Ruiz going to drop to the inside line, give them some help, make that 6 cars now. Just seeing a lot of back and forth between these two lines, Joe. One will be quicker one lap, and then the next is the other line. Really changing a lot.
Well, and you see Huang Do pull off. We're at the pit stop window here. Do did not pit under that first caution, so Will has to pit a little bit before everyone else, but we expect the rest of the leaders down the pit lane in the next 2 to 3 laps.
If I'm Huang, I was probably hoping for a yellow there before I had to pit before everybody else. Pitting by yourself at a super speedway, not really what you want to do. You're going to end up out without any draft help here, and could spell disaster if you go multiple laps down.
Now, the one way I've seen that work, Weaver, and I've seen it work a couple times, different leagues, different drivers, the one way it works, you have to be the last to come down the pit lane. You can get away with pitting by yourself if you're the last one, not if you're the first one. You have to be the last one, because these guys, they're going to be all together in this big pack for a couple extra laps. That's how they gain the time. It's not coming back up to speed, but rather while they're still up to speed before they come down pit lane. So, as you see the 0-1, almost a LePage moment there.
See the field reacting to that. Everybody's spread out there going into turns 1 and 2. A lot of people trying to get down to that inside line and expect a lot of this field to be coming down here soon.
It's a mad scramble to the double yellow line, and no, folks, it's not the end of the race. It's the first green flag pit stops of the event. Have to think Chris Pickett going to be leading us in here in a lap or so. A couple fake outs there. Davey looking to the inside of Darren Ingram. Darren might just think about staying out that extra lap now that he's shuffled to the outside line. Teammate Noah Joyce does not go with him.
Davey Hazard breaking apart that duo there, the 3 and 31.
If you're Darren, are you angry a little bit that Noah didn't go up with you to help you?
I don't think so. I think it's early in the race, and those two are probably in communications. They probably know what's going on here. They might even be on separate pit strategies to kind of cover off each one.
All right, moment of truth, Weaver. Moment of truth. No one pits. I like to do that. Got told 16 to 18 on fuel by our very own Ricky Collette. So, again, we're going to be pitting here soon. You got those radios ready, too, right?
I don't think I put them on the charger last night, Joe.
You at least got the voice to text ready, right?
Oh, yeah, we got that ready.
Okay.
Always.
Did you catch my drift that time?
Yeah, we got you. We got you. Looking like this is going to be the time for a lot of drivers here.
Chris Pickett slowing down in the middle of the track. That could have been dangerous. Hazard might have been speeding. Gets a bump from Steven Merzlak. You're going to have to give up a couple spots and get back in line. Mad dash down the pit lane. All these crews getting ready to service these cars. Probably not taking 4 tires, too, right?
No, Joe, I would assume a lot of these drivers are going to take maybe 2 tires. Usually just going to take 2 cans of fuel and go back out there.
Because there's no sense in taking no tires right now. The right side tires, they'll take a little bit, as you see a couple cars taking 4. Darren's going to take 4 here. Steven, everyone's taking 4. We know nothing, apparently, up here in the booth. Race off pit lane. Davey Hazard and Darren Ingram going to be close. Darren going to win it. More cars on the pit lane. Garrett Sidner, Cal Laval, and Zach Krastowski. It's quiet right now there on track, as here comes the rest of the field getting up to speed through turns 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway, and right now it's about a 5-car breakaway. Maybe call it 4. See if Jack Healy can hold on to the tail end of this. Let's see where those other cars on the pit lane right now merge out. But you can see back of your screen, Huang Do lost a lot of time in the 0-1. to these leaders. Remember, was up here inside the top 5 when he had to come down the pit lane a lap or two early.
At the front of the group that has already pit, the 3 and 31 already back together.
Rest of these cars
Across the line now.
Sidner leading him off the pit lane. Got Cal right behind him. See if they kind of bridge the gap here between the two groups. A lot of times that's what ends up happening. You got the cars merging like these guys are right now.
Woeful feeling when you're out there. You're going about 160, 170, and you still got cars blowing your doors off. Davey Hazard, black flag, coming back down to serve it now. That is a tough break for that 75 crew. But like we've been saying, all it takes is that one momentum shift in these playoffs. All the drivers are going to be looking to capitalize on this mistake by the 75 crew.
And we saw it, right? We saw that 75 too fast entering. Got the extra bump from Steven Merzlak, too. Have to think Davey might... Knowing Davey, he's probably not happy right now. Probably not happy right now, Weaver.
No, not at all. He's only just now getting out of pit road. Everybody else is down in turn 3 by now.
Gonna need one of those special colored flags to get him caught up to the rest of these leaders. I have to think we'll get one before all is said and done. We're a quarter of the way through this one here on JTN. I'm Joe. He's Weaver. Or your cup of Joe up here in the booth tonight. So glad you're joining us here on the JoeTowNetwork, JTN, for the United States Online Racing League AlphaTauri Cup Series. Remember, folks, the best way to help support us here on JTN, of course, is to make sure you're subscribed and you hit that like button. We hope you like what you're seeing, like what we're doing. As always, cannot thank you enough for tuning in to JTN here on a Saturday night. 16 folks currently tuning in, only 4 likes on the video. Got to get that like number up. Appreciate it. If you haven't already, you click that like button. Again, it does so much to help support us right here on youtube.com.
Yeah, we always tell you about our merch. You know, merch costs money. Understandable if you can't spend the money buying some merch, but you want an easy way to support us here at JTN, clicking that like button. It's free. Might cost you a couple calories, maybe a calorie to click the button, but I think it's a fair price to pay to help support us here. Oh!
Chaos about to ensue here at the front of the field.
Lead pack of 4 cars look like they're having a little fun out here, beating and banging through the corners.
Well, we guilt-tripped one person into clicking the like button. I would call that an accomplishment.
And now, with that move, the rest of the pack has caught them at an alarming rate.
That's a new pair of underpants moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm seeing some not happy chat there from the 3 and 31. Assuming they wanted the 1 and 77 there, Steven Merzlak, Jack Healy, to stay in line, keep that gap, and maybe try and grow in it a little bit. But
Now, why would Merzlak and Healy want to get these other cars caught up to the field? Or caught up to the rest of the other 2 leaders?
well, if you notice, we have these markings on these car here, Joe, and I'm not going to say this for certain, but, you know, maybe they just want to have some fun, have a nice, fun race out here. They're not racing for points. It don't matter to them.
You're saying that maybe we planted them out there to make the race a little bit better for TV?
Definitely wasn't us. If they did it on their own, you know, maybe we'll give them a good thanks, a nice hug after the race, but can't blame us for that.
Don't shoot the messenger as Darren Ingram and Steve Merzlak battle side by side for the lead. Horizon Chevrolet on the bottom, Mobil 1 Toyota on the outside. They got help behind. Ingram with help from Joyce. Merzlak with help from Daytona 250 season opener winner Jack Healy.
Looking to lead this time by. Outside line has the numbers now. Nice and tight. They were working together. Nice out there. JTN Radioactive, it'd be something to hear. I'm sure that was some fun moments in chat there.
We when we ask you guys to make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and do all those things, because they help give us the ability to do things like that in the future as we continue to build the brand, build the group, and again, as always, cannot thank all of our league partners that help us get through these things. A big thank you, and I know he's not out there on track tonight, but John Peterson, normally driving the number 7. Big thank you to John for his contributions to help get the USORL on JTN, to help us here on JTN, and they're always very appreciated. John, if you're out there watching, cannot thank you enough for, again, not only your support of us here on JTN of the USORL, but continue to help us build this brand.
DMers like Jack Healy, they're getting clear on the outside line, going to jump down low, see what kind of help they get there from the 331 behind them.
I would hazard to believe, see what I did there, 3 and 31 might not be too keen to help the 1 and 77 moving forward.
Speaking of Hazard, don't look too far ahead of this group. You will see Davey Hazard. He's not leading the field by that much. He is about to go a lap down.
Uncommon sight in these in this chase.
Very uncommon. You would expect it to be he's leading by that much the way he's running so far this season, but not the case tonight.
Tate Dorsey tuning in. Welcome in, Tate.
And jumping back to your point there, they might not want to work with the 77 and 1 too much, but at a super speedway in this situation, you're forced to a little bit. You really don't have much of a choice in certain situations. I think this is one of them. They're going to have to stay there in line, hold that bottom line. Looks like they're committed to that bottom line this race, so that's where they end up being. That's what they're going to have to deal with for now, at least.
Working lap 34 of 100 here from Talladega. Cannot thank you enough for tuning in to JTN. Battle right now is for the 4th position there with Noah Joyce and Garrett Sidner. Joyce on the bottom, Sidner on the outside. Ricky Collette running there in that 57 in the 6th spot. Battling with Cal Laval in that number 12. It's always weird to say that they're battling on track on these super speedways, Weaver, but battling they are.
Is true, Joe. Looking to the back of this pack, 75 Davey Hazard is able to latch himself on there. Nobody else a lap down in this pack, so if he can stay there, if we do get one of those funny yellows, will be beneficial to the 75. Outside line starting to fall back. We're kind of in that point. I was saying earlier, these races don't really go into too much of a lull here, the super speedways at USORL, but you get between green flag pit stops, the field's kind of splintered. You got a couple different packs out here, and yeah, I mean, we're still side by side here for 5th on back, but more tame than what we were seeing earlier in this race.
There is a common misconception with these super speedways, and from our side of the aisle, that these are, there's always obviously people say, these are the easiest races to win and all that jazz, and they take no skill, anyone can do it, blah, 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 blah. Completely disagree with that. That's an argument for later on tonight, if we get the chance. But from our perspective up here in the booth, these super speedways can be some of the hardest races to call. Weaver, not only because you get these lulls that happen when you get these long green flag runs, but also because everyone's kind of stuck, right? Right now, if you're the 4 car or you're the 57, the 12, you're stuck where you are. You can't really go anywhere. You can't make a move high. You can't make a move forward. You can't make a move low. without losing time. So you get into these places where you're stuck, and from us up here in the booth trying to call that action, it's not as sexy if we say, you know, well, Cal right now sitting there second in the outside line. He's stuck behind Garrett Sidner in the 16. It's always a delicate balance with these super speedways and making sure we're not talking too much about what you're seeing with your own eyeballs there on the screen.
Yeah, Joe, I agree. They're definitely, you can get stuck, but I also think it comes down to sometimes drivers are just gonna stay in a position where they feel safe and comfortable. The danger level at a super speedway is very high. Obviously not the physical danger here, but if you want to run well, you can't be wrecking, and that there is a high chance of wrecking, a high chance of wrecking out if you do get in a wreck here. So if you find yourself in a good spot that you like, you feel safe, you're just going to stay there. You're going to ride out the laps, burn that fuel off, go back in, get some more, and come back and do it again until you get down to the last couple laps, and then you start making your reckless moves to get to the front of the race.
A philosophy hour here. It goes back to the question, do you have free will just because you think you have it?
That's a good question. Would be a good one for a write-in response there, because I don't think we could do a multiple choice response on that one.
We didn't talk about it. Close your ears for the next 30 seconds here. But a big congratulations to SRX on their first race of the 2022 season. Elio Castroneves taking home the victory. I believe he's the first IndyCar guy to win an SRX race too, so that's a big thing.
I don't think that's true, Joe.
Who won one last year? Oh, Marco won last year at Slinger, didn't he?
That is true, and I wouldn't, count Tony Stewart out of being an IndyCar guy either. But
that is Weaver. You're known in certain circles for having some really bad takes, and while this one isn't a take, it's just a bad opinion. So,
was he not a driver in IndyCar? I seem to remember him competing in the series.
Don't make me make the poll question. Is Tony Stewart considered an IndyCar driver? Do not make me make that the poll question.
I wouldn't say he's an IndyCar driver first, but I wouldn't. I feel like it's discrediting him from if you're saying he's not. As we see pit stops here.
Oh boy!
Everybody in that low line. Davey Hazard going quick again.
I would worry about him speeding again.
Very fast entry there for the 75. Going to be interesting to see if he got himself another penalty there.
See everyone taking their time down the pit lane. Watch these leaders again. Sidner, Laval, and Krastowski all going the overcut here by a lap. Have help from Henrietta Bordeaux in the 00.
Saw last time with the shenanigans at the front of the pack. The undercut it didn't get any advantage, but it didn't hurt them either. Yeah, everybody coming out of pit road nice and orderly that time.
Well, the folks in chat asked for it. Would you consider Tony Stewart an IndyCar driver for SRX purposes? Yes or no? Vote in chat now.
And you're asking the fans who's going to get bragging rights between me and you. This is a big question.
What's a big question? Just know that whoever loses will never hear the end of it. Alright, I got really scared because you were winning there for a couple seconds.
I have hope that the people will prevail for me. You hear things getting a little dicey here. Dewey Schramm going a lap down. Going a second lap down that time, I believe. And back at the front of the field, it's the same way they were as they went in. Steven Merzlak, your leader, followed by Jack Keeley, Darren Ingram, and Noah Joyce. Antonio Ruiz rounding out your top 5 right now.
It's a jumbled top 5. You got 2 Toyotas at the front. Everyone getting loosey-goosey on the new Goodyears and getting dicey here at the front of the field. Ingram trying to find a way around Healy.
Davey Hazard staying out so far, not looking like he's got a penalty just yet. He's going to stay out this time. Looks like he was able to get it checked up just enough for the officials there to not give him the black flag.
Meme of a channel, that is correct. 97 IRL champion was Tony Stewart. 96-97 IRL champion.
Seen there, Steven Merzlak, Jack Healy dropping to the back here. 57, Ricky Collette with some help from DJ Harris and Davey Hazard going to make a move on the outside, 2 wide for the lead. Darren Ingram, Noah Joyce on the inside line, all alone. Antonio Ruiz now going to drop down and give that inside line a little help.
DJ Harris betraying his Chevrolet brethren right now. Working with those 2 Toyotas, one of which a lap down. That's Davey Hazard in that red and white 75.
Well, if you're a driver like DJ Harris, you're really out here driving for yourself. You see this car, the 31, the 3, they've been hooked up all race. You know they have an agenda. And if you're not in on it, it's hard to really trust them. So you might be out here trying to make some new alliances out, see who's going to be there to help you at the end of the race.
Hey, DJ pulled down in front of him right now. Got to the inside of Ricky Collette. Battle for the lead is on. DJ Harris on the bottom, Collette on the outside. DJ going to have more help there.
As he just said, driving for himself, going to go down to the inside, going to get a lap led here. 32 on the point here at Talladega.
D. Mace on the outside. Ingram with help from Joyce. Ingram going to go back to the lead. A dangerous place. Well, dangerous thing for the rest of this field is to put that 3 out in front. Ingram back out to the lead.
Dewey Schramm, in the meantime, pulled it down into one of the access roads on the back straightaway, going to be the end of the night for the 36 team.
And Dewey was pressured into running this race, so I would like the record to show that
had a good run in qualifying.
Hey,
Who knows what could have happened without that early wreck that most definitely gave him some damage there. Same can be said for our pole sitter and outside pole sitter, Sean Whitehill and Ray Tustin. There's former race leader Chris Pickett in the 29 going a lap down now.
that's what we call the pit strategy not working out.
Yeah, Joe, pit strategy not working out. Maybe a slight mistake on pit road. It doesn't take much. Just lose a couple tenths, you lose that draft, and it's hard to get it back without a yellow.
Hey, still got half this race to go, though.
Yeah, anything can happen, Joe. You're really trying to be that first car lap down. The way Davey's running, though, it's going to be hard to get that away from him. You see him in the 57 now. Ricky Collette able to split up the 3 and the 31 in the front. Little disorganized at the moment, but a lot of help on that outside line right now. They're going to muscle their way around the 3. Ricky Collette now leading the outside line.
Watching the race at the front of the field. Ingram starting to play the games, blocks the outside, ditches his teammate Noah Joyce. Coming up on lap traffic, that's 0-1 of Huang Do. Now Darren kind of stuck in that outside line, Weaver.
Yeah, he doesn't really have that option of going low now. It would take too long. He'd lose too much time. He's committed now to the front bumper of Ricky Collette.
So Joyce and Ruiz going to fall to the back of this field. No help behind them. We'll be closing in on more pit stops here.
Do you like green flag pit stops in the Blaze this year race? Because we're going to have probably another 2 or 3 if we don't end up with the yellow at some point.
You know, these drivers out here right now, they are having a lot of fun.
Yeah, Joe, like we said, this is a high-speed chess match. You're making moves that have effect on the race, have lasting effect, as we see Ricky Collette looking to the inside.
No help.
Maybe Hazard not going to give him any help. He knows that you would need a lot of commitment from that high side with how strong they were right there to make that move work. It just wasn't going to be there.
Well, and Davey trying to get back on the lead lap, too. Another thing to look at.
Yeah, Joe, something that could have been a part of that decision. You see the 29's been able to hold on with this lead group. Now Davey looking to the inside of Darren Ingram. Gonna slide back up in line. Davey Hazard, though, now gonna have to stay ahead of that 29 in the same group as him. 1 lap down, gonna be fighting for that lucky dog.
Ursulak looks to the outside. Steven in that number 1, second right now. Again, don't be fooled by Davey Hazard sitting there in the 75. Folks, as we're watching the racing action get tighter and tighter here at the front of the field, I'd like to remind you that we got more coming at you later on this week. Starting off tomorrow night, Hobo Racing Truck Series action from Knoxville. Coverage beginning 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night right here on JTN. Then it's the Maverick Cup Series from Kentucky, Tuesday, June 21st. Last race before about I believe it's a 5-week layoff there with Maverick Cup Series. Kentucky, 8:30 again Tuesday. And then the Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series returns for the stretch all the way to the championship in November. From Chicagoland, 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time, Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series action live here on JTN. Those races, much, much more, only on JTN.
Aaron Ingram has led the pack up into that very high line. We see people running against the wall. Davey Hazard looking at the outside, trying to run even closer to the wall to make a pass.
Sean Whitehill now going down a lap.
Sean Whitehill earlier doing a pretty good job with that car with the damage to hold on to that lead pack. I think the green flag pit stops there was his undoing with that damage.
And we talk about it, right? It's so hard to kind of come back from having that damage, but then couple that with the pit stops if you're off just a little bit, it means so much. Once you're off with the damage, you're at a larger disadvantage running by yourself than you would be normally. So Whitehill and that 45 crew, they're going to be hoping for a caution, get themselves back on the lead lap, and then, well, probably try to go from there and hope they can stick on to the end of this pack. See Chris Pickett coming off the pit lane.
Yeah, last time by, him and Huangdo ducked out of this lead pack, had their flag stop. See now, Jack Healy, Steven Merzlag, Glenn elected to go down to that inside, see if they can get something done here. Darren Ingram now at the front trying to play both lines, give a little help to that inside line.
I'm telling you, Darren's better at that than anyone else. Folks, I'm seeing a lot of stuff coming up right now in the broadcasting world. Tell us what we do better than Fox Sports. Love to hear it. Need an ego boost tonight, Weaver. I need an ego boost tonight. We do have some comments from Dewey Schramm. Cannot read most of them, as they are not appropriate for airwaves. Now, there are a lot of curses, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger boiling over as Darren Ingram maintains the lead in the number 3. Again, Davey Hazard battling, trying to get back on the lead lap.
Hearing some chatter, looking like we're going to be seeing some pit stops this time. A lot of side-by-side here in this front group, see how they get down to pit road.
Hazard and Joyce get to the bottom. Here we go. Pit stops once again. Oh, no!
Oh! Contact!
And once again, was that the 77 getting into the back of the 3 or the 1?
I couldn't exactly tell who started the contact there, Joe, but I will say Darren Ingram, very lucky that Davey Hazard was there to save him from going all the way around there.
'12 car came down this time. Haven't seen Cal do that throughout the night. See Garrett Sidner, Zach Krastowski still out on track together. They're vibing.
Just took a quick look back there, Joe. It was the 77 of Jack Healy getting in the back of Darren Ingram there, coming into pit road.
Here we go. Off the pit lane, Hazard with a big lead. Don't know if that bodes well for him as the rest of the field is packed up. Antonio Ruiz giving a shot there to Darren Ingram in the 3. Well, Tate, we don't try to be funny, we just are, you know? I think that's the real big difference between us and Fox Sports. But, Beaver, you want to hear the feedback we've gotten?
I'd love to hear it, Joe.
We catch the wrecks, never miss a flip. We don't explain things like the viewers are 5 years old, which I'm sure we've had some younger viewers out there. But we do not want to insult your intelligence because we know everyone watching is a very smart individual. That's why you're watching JTN, whatever night of the week it may be. And we don't have weird gimmicky things with the drivers, reporters trying to be funny.
Well, you know, if I wanted to play the devil's advocate, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I will say we do have the luxury of being able to go back and get a live replay, which does give us some good excuses there. And the whole wacky deals with drivers, I promise you, it's not for lack of trying.
You got Darren Ingram out in front. We're single file here. Count them, 8 cars. Counted them wrong, 9 cars. Ricky Collette trying to get something to work. Doesn't look like Steven's going to go with them. Got 3 Chevrolets up at the front of the field.
It is a pretty nice compliment, Joe, that anybody would say we do anything better than a major TV broadcasting.
Fusion writes in, I love Dino Chicken Nuggets. Agreed.
Yeah. Something about the shape gives them a little better flavor.
Are you a Triceratops or a Tyrannosaurus Rex type of guy?
I like the long neck one.
Oh, you like a Stegosaurus. You're a Stegosaurus. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. Big old neck. Something about a gentle giant animal.
Something about biting into a neck? Is that what you're going to say, you vampire, you?
I think that's for the JTN After Dark discussions, but...
Fusion prefers the Stegosaurus too, Weaver.
I like that. That's a good choice.
Tate also writes in, Fox could use a producer like Bristol. I mean, we all agree with that. I think Artie Kemp does a good job with what he's got. I don't like going into this type of stuff while we're broadcasting, but I'm going to do it because it's fun to talk about. There are a lot of people wanting a lot of things out of these broadcasts, and when you're in that producer role, you're not always doing what you want, you're doing what you're told to do, and you're trying to do it to the best way. A lot of times with these major sports producer roles, you don't get the artistic vision that we do. You know, it's a corny way to say it, but, you know, we get to present our races the way that we see fit, that Bristol and I see fit. So I think we really have that advantage. We have the control over our broadcast a little bit more than a big company like Fox or NBC, ESPN, CBS, whatever the network is. And I think that's kind of where you have the advantage with every sim racing broadcaster. You can do the things you want. That's why you see things like Moon Car do so well. Because Travis, that's his name, right?
I believe so.
Or Moon Car, however you want to address him. He does such a good job of presenting you something unique, but if everyone did the same thing, it wouldn't be, everyone else wouldn't see the same thing because that's his thing. We try to make sure we're our own thing as best as we can, and that's what we like to try to do here on JTN. That's why when you guys support us when we do those types of things, when we do all the fun things, we really appreciate all your support because it at least tells us that we're on the right track, giving you something unique, something you like, or a combination of the two, or maybe something else that we've never thought of. Maybe you just like hearing our voices. I don't know why, but nonetheless, maybe that's what you like.
Yeah, that one wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but if that's what what you like, that's what you like. Well, I mean, you're not the only one talking, Joe.
I know.
I don't think I have the most wonderful voice in the world,
but they're unique to us, darn it. So yeah, we're gonna keep rolling with it, just like we're rolling with Darren Ingram in the lead. We need to get some Darren Ingram merch on the store.
Yeah, maybe he can win something, and then we'll give him some merch. It's been a little while for him.
That's some Weaver shade if I've ever heard it. As always, folks, cannot thank you enough for tuning into JTN tonight. Would love it if you haven't already, hit that like button. Antonio Ruiz gets a bump from Noah Joyce, boots him out of line. Ruiz going to drop to the back of this single file freight train along the bottom. Now, there was some confusion and maybe some frustration from some of these drivers and crew chiefs. When we talk about race server, you can talk about wear lengths, right? 1x, 2x, 3x. 1x is whatever it would be default in the real world, right? Normally you can go about 40 laps at Talladega. Tonight we're only going about 16 to 18. Server got set on 2x mistakenly. Usually here in the USORL Super Speedway races, we use 1x fuel and tire consumption and wear, respectively. So tonight with the 2x, that's why we're seeing these extra pit stops. I have a feeling that's kind of why we're seeing this thing single out like it has. The field has gotten so splintered. Already a smaller field to start for a USORL Super Speedway race, plate race. But nonetheless, if you're Darren Ingram, you're Noah Joyce, Ricky Collette sitting there in third, you don't mind that right now because you're in the catbird seat coming into the home stretch of this race.
Yeah, if you ask anybody in this front pack right now, I'm sure they will tell you that they have no problem with it. They're fine with it. Anybody outside of that, though, I think they might have a little bit of a problem with the different weigher setting for tonight.
And that's and the reason that's frustrating is because you may be, you know, I don't know if you practice for it, but when you think about the race coming into the week, you're kind of planning. You plan the race out to run 30, 40 laps, run another 30, 40 laps, and then get to the end of it.
Yeah, Joan, it really just adds more opportunities where you can make that small mistake and it ends up costing you big time on pit road.
Just sitting here, Weaver.
Fun. You get a little crank it up session going almost.
We need that. We I forget what the phrase was. I think I wrote it down somewhere. Let's go through our notes. Because we are professionals, so we take notes, of course.
Some of us do.
I am a professional. I take notes, of course. Rev it up. Rev it up was the...
Rev it up. We need to get a hold of old Randall Coleman, see if he wants to drop a couple bucks in on that one.
That's right. Tate came up with it. I knew it was Tate. And I wanted to make sure I had it right. I just looked over at chat. He put it in. Built different.
That's a good one. I like that. Rev it up.
So, got some more input. Mark Bancroft writing in, can we take out Vince Welch from trucks and add Bristol to it? He could get anything perfect. Vince Welch.
That's an interesting one.
I've talked about it on the Fake Racers podcast because I like to bore Davey and Matthew sometimes from time to time. That's why you gotta go check out the Fake Racers podcast because I don't think I'll bore you, the fans at home. But Vince Welch is a very good pit reporter. And I feel like moving him into the booth, you see that a little bit with Jamie Little too. When you're a pit reporter, your job is to give those little quick hit 30 to 45 to 90 second little hits about drivers, storylines. So Vince Welch's broadcasting style really focuses on those storylines. And I think that's where it kind of goes wrong for him because that's what he's been trained to do for 20 years or however long he's been in the game. I believe it's somewhere around that number. Whereas a guy like a Mike Joy has been in the booth for so long, has gotten away from that, because of course he did do some of that pit reporting back in the day. Alan Bestwick randomly was pit reporting back in the day, but does a good job too. Rick Allen, I don't recall Rick Allen being a pit reporter, if at all, for very long. So
I wish I didn't recall him being a reporter, period, but...
Well, your Rick Allen hate is weird. But, so there's the... I think what folks don't like out there, and if you're in chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong. What you want from a lead broadcaster, you want them to be engaging and creating a conversation. That's what we try to do, right? I say we like I'm trained or anything. I'm not. I'm just lucky to think over 1,000 of you subscribed here on JTN and put up with me, but you got to weave a web, right? And you weave that web so your partner up in the booth can kind of navigate the viewers at home through it. So you do that right, Weaver. I'm asking you questions, even if I know the answer. Cause, believe it or not, to pull back the curtain a little bit, see the Wizard of Oz for what he is. But I know a lot of the answers. Partially because I've asked the same questions, because we have new broadcasts every time, and it's always good to make sure we're giving everyone the same education, but you gotta weave that web, and how do you like navigating that web, Weaver? Or maybe it's a maze, maybe it's not a web, because sometimes there's dead ends.
Well, is this one of those questions that you already know the answer to, Joe?
It isn't.
Oh.
Because I haven't been on that side of the booth, you know?
Well, something I just like to go back and rely on my knowledge, my prior experiences, and I feel like that usually helps me answer a lot of the questions I get from you, Joe. And just a lot of it's a lot of feel. I'm still, obviously, like Joe said, we're not perfect. We're a couple guys on YouTube calling a video game race right now, so we're not saying we're perfect, but we're doing our best. We're doing what we know how to do and how we know how to do it, so.
But we like having the conversation with you folks at home, so thank you so much for allowing us to do that. Danny Asher, of course, our one of our industry colleagues is a good way to put it. Over on Fast 29, you want to keep up with the USORL AlphaTauri Cup Series. You check out Fast 29 because Dan and Chris is the same role. He does what Bristol and I do. One person does
all over you there, Joe. Looks like we're going to be getting some pit stops this time, seeing some jostling of those front pack here.
Well, I'll get to Dan's comments here in a second because he's got a good point in chat and I'd like to read it off for the folks maybe watching the replay. As pit stops upcoming, here comes Darren Ingram, Noah Joyce, DJ Harris, Antonio Ruiz, so the Chevrolet contingent down the pit lane. Noah mighty quick there coming to his box as the Toyotas and the Ford of Cal Laval stay out. 77 and 01 coming off the pit lane.
Little split strategy here late in this race. Seeing half of our front pack dive down there, half stay out.
And you're still going to need one stop from here.
Correct, Joe.
So here we go to pit lane. Remember, Davey Hazard is a lap down, so there is not as much of a vested interest here for team and driver 75. We haven't talked about him. There's Sean Whitehill, Chris Pickett, Ray Tustin up in here. Henrietta Bordeaux's further on back. Just kind of a lot of drivers just driving their race right now, Weaver.
Yeah, at this point in this race, that's all you can do. Like you said, we start going to have another pit stop after this. You never know if or when you might get a yellow, so just got to stick it out and see what happens.
Grouping back up here with these first four that came down the pit lane. There's Darren Ingram, Noah Joyce riding there in second in this grouping, Antonio Ruiz and DJ Harris. See where they come out relative to the Toyota and Ford contingent.
Hazard did not have the best of pit stops there. He's going to lose that front three of his group that he pit with.
That's why I said for Davey, let's see if he can get a tow here off these guys. As those two Toyotas. This other group did not get off the pit lane together. These Chevrolets are going to probably go blowing by them. Ingram to the outside.
Noah Joyce down pit road.
He
said he was looking a little quick there.
Oh my goodness. So now there were 6. So Ingram takes over the lead. Antonio Ruiz, DJ Harris looking for third with Steven Merzlak. That's a battle. 11 and 3 have ditched their Chevrolet brethren. Or brother or manufacturer mate. I don't know what the proper classification is there, but good illustration of the point that Dan Asher made in chat, saying for him personally, 2 times plate races take all the excitement out of the race. If it stays green long enough to get a pit stop, then the rest of the race is going to be a snoozer. So by the time you regroup the pack, you're 5 laps from pitting again, and more people lose the pack with each stop. Couldn't agree with you more, Dan. But thankfully, when we're broadcasting these races, when y'all are broadcasting these races again over on Fast 29, go check them out here on YouTube. We make it fun for the fans at home. That's what we do.
We took the snoozers off y'all's hand. Y'all get all the good races, we get the snooze fest.
We got you. We got you covered.
Joe, we've been talking this race at 3:31. They've been working together. They've said they've had plans for this race, how they want it to go out. And 31, Noah Joyce getting the penalty there, falling off of this lead pack. It's going to throw a wrench in their plans, probably open this race wide open for that 3 car.
It's just, it's interesting right now. Because, do you know the team that has the numbers up here at the front of the field? Do you know what team it is?
What team would that be, Joe?
It's Turn Left Incorporated. With the 11 and the 32.
It is true. Got a couple cars between them. Going to be looking to see if they get hooked up here. Do know Antonio Ruiz, EJ Harris, both good friends there. The 3 cars, driver Darren Ingram, all 3 in Toyotas, so, or not Toyotas, in Chevys rather. Maybe all of Darren's help isn't lost here.
Hasn't lost the help, but the allegiance not as strong.
Absolutely. We've seen the 77. Jack Healy's been with Steven Merzlak all race. Not there now, so he's pretty by his lonesome. Ricky Collette, not a regular in this Cup Series. He was kind of lonely coming in. Going to be real lonely now.
So, Weaver, as we're kind of running here single file in the world of motorsports games, and not motorsports games the company, just racing games in general, I guess that's how I have to say it from now on. So we're coming up on some lap traffic. New NHRA game coming out here this summer.
I've heard some rumblings of that, seen a couple of clips of that online. Looks like it'd be a fun little game.
You gonna partake?
No, if I find it on sale sometime, maybe a couple friends pick it up, I might. I think it'd be a fun time if you get a good group together and run a couple little tournaments, maybe.
Yeah. Do the 4 wide nationals.
Yeah, that'd be a fun time. A lot of people out there not big fans of the drag racing, especially once you get into the higher levels of drag racing, where we're seeing a lot of even competitiveness from the teams. But I enjoy it. It's fun to watch every now and then.
7 cars remain on the lead lap. Just put down 8th and 9th place. Garrett Sidner and Zach Krostowski. No, Joyce will be the next car to go a lap down there. You see that 31. Good colors on that 31 tonight. Haven't talked about it too much. Nice simple paint scheme. You'll love to see it. We're in the window to pit here to make it to the end of the race. Have to think it's going to be no tires and the least amount of fuel possible. That's got to be the call. And we talked about it at the top of the show, the points lead, and we're flashing a big points graphic up on the middle of your screen right now while we're single file, because Davey Hazard tonight coming into the race had a 32-point lead over Huang Do, 44 points over Darren Ingram. Ingram, currently your leader, will cut into that gap sizably. Do going to get a couple points on Davey, but nonetheless, even with Hazard having the struggles, that 0-1 also having similar issues, and I believe Davey's still 10th or 11th right now, so...
At this point, Huang Do would be losing some points. He's running 14th now, 2 laps down. Davey Hazard in 11th, only 1 lap down at the moment. Darren Ingram definitely looking to be the big gainer. If he could hold on and win this race, that would be a very big swing in his favor.
So still do not believe there to be too much movement tonight in those points. So what we thought could be the big shakeup of the chase grid did not happen. I feel like we can.
I think I'd say it's still.
I don't know.
If things stay as they run, I don't think you could have had too much bigger of a shakeup any other way, really. I mean Davey could have finished a couple positions worse, but 11th place for that 75 team is still going to be a very tough pill to swallow with the run he's been on. And all the momentum that he had is definitely going down the drain with this sort of finish, and giving a lot of momentum to this 3 car if he could stay out front.
Thank you, Tate. That graphic comes from our very own Tommy Bordeaux. He did a good job with it last year, and I just reused it. You gotta give the credit to the people. You know, Waver, you gotta give the credit to your people. That's what I've learned. Give you a lot of credit. This was a tough assignment tonight. Doing a great job.
Hey, Joe, I try.
12 laps to go here from Talladega. It's been a long one, folks. These drivers know they have one more trip down the pit lane to either make up some spots, make up some time, or heck, just get into victory lane. Ryan Pace writing in where 15. Ryan, that's on you, buddy.
Ryan Pace, like you said earlier, winner of two out of three super speedways.
The last
so
two.
Far this season.
I mean,
choosing not to run tonight. Interesting decision. I kind of called him out a little bit on it when we were talking together last night, but hope he's having fun watching at least.
Mikey Murata also not out on track in the 8. They're both tuning into chat though, so I hope they hit the like button, especially since they're moderators. That was a jab.
A little slight jab there. Everybody likes a slight jab.
Ryan's always good at the PR stuff, let me tell you. Coming to 10 laps to go this time at the line. Darren Ingram, he will be the first to see those 10 fingers from the flagger. 10 laps to go, presented by our friends at TWB. Well, folks, we're getting ready to head into the heart of the summer season, and you're no doubt going to want to be outside more. And what better way to be outside than with it nice and lit? And folks, I don't mean lit like the you-know-what. I mean lit like light outside. Head on over now to GardenLightsDirect.com because they have you covered from porches to patios to more for all of those outdoor lighting needs. They, again, have you covered. Again, head on over to GardenLightsDirect.com. That's GardenLightsDirect.com. GardenLightsDirect.com here on your TWV 10 to go.
Coming down to it, when will these drivers make that last pit stop? We know it's going to be coming here soon. Got a lot of drivers in this lead pack, more so than when we pit last time around. A lot of pit strategy is going to be interesting to see how they split up.
And the bots got drug in, so now you know it's an actual broadcast. All right.
As the race is official, we have had the bots invade. Looks like we're getting ready for some pit stops here. 3's coming in, 11 coming in, 31 as well. 3 cars.
And 3 up in front of them coming down the pit lane, too. Looked like Sean Whitehill, Henrietta Bordeaux, missed the 3rd, Chris Pickett. All right, so that's the big split, because now there's 6 left out there on track.
That's still a solid pack. They're going to be out here running just as fast as they conceivably can with a full pack. So if they can break off from those first 3 that pit, it'll be beneficial to the 3 that are still on the lead pack in this group.
Gonna be an interesting run to the end of this one. The rest of these cars gonna be coming down pit lane here in mere moments. Steven Merzlak gonna lead them. Ricky Collette, DJ Harris, Garrett Sidner. They're gonna go an extra lap. So in a couple more moments, we'll see these other leaders come on down the pit lane.
And you were talking about it earlier, Joe. 32 and 11 were the last two teammates on the lead lap, but
They split each
the
other.
Strategy might have been a byproduct of where they were running there in that pack.
Well, Darren gonna lose a lap here. And Antonio had a better stop in the 11. Darren gonna go up for some extra high. You gotta love Darren Ingram. Go another lap. This is the smart strategy.
It is, especially if they can continue pulling on Darren Ingram. You see, he's kind of fallen back here from this lead group. If he can't latch on, they keep pulling away. That's just more time in the bank for them.
Well, the folks that know, this is the time to tune in. We're seeing that viewership number go up. Make sure if you're watching for the first time tonight, you click that like button. Steven Merzlak still out in front of the field. You got Ricky Collette in the Tommy Bordeaux 57 running there in second, with DJ Harris running third. Garrett Sidner doing a disappearing act in fourth. Cal Laval rounding out your top 5 in the number 12. They go by Antonio Ruiz now. So Ruiz was one of those cars that already pit. Big dive to the bottom for the top 3. That leaves Sidner on the outside. Is Cal going to make up the spot here? This has to be the entry lap with 5 laps to go here from Talladega.
But he's fighting to get down there low. 32, maybe sputtering. Is he out of fuel?
Oh, no.
Might have pushed it just a little too far there. DJ Harris off pace.
Well, the rest of these leaders are terrified now, Weaver. You have to come this time, and you are taking half a can of fuel. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, take a can to be safe. Take half a can of fuel. You played the strategy correctly. You played it to perfection. Half a can of fuel in this car. Get off pit lane as quick as possible. Don't make a mistake. Win this race.
The thing is, with the way that field splintered there, coming to that pit stop, Darren Ingram was able to catch up there. Noah Joyce also with him. Antonio Ruiz leading that pack now. They have a nice tight group of cars.
Ricky into the box. Merzlak into the box. Cal was into the box. Down and away goes the 57. All right, see, they all did it. They did it to perfection. Ricky raced 3 wide off of pit lane.
You're going to need to get single filed and get going quickly. The rest of the pack just exited turn 4, entering the tri-oval now.
So we follow along. Antonio Ruiz is the leader of this pack. You got 3 lapped cars in between him and Darren Ingram in the number 3. Sean Whitehill, Chris Pickett both get out of the way. Gentleman move there from those 2 drivers. But the other 3, Weaver, I mean, they're pretty far out there. And Merzlak's got a tow from Davey Hazard.
Sean Whitehill definitely got out of the way. I don't think Chris Pickett had much of a choice there. Darren Ingram, he wanted to get down low. He needed to get by those cars, and he was making sure he was doing it that lap.
Steven Merzlak with the lead. 3 laps to go. Cal Laval having to come back down the pit lane. Comes Sidner down pit lane. I think Garrett's the leader, isn't he? No, he's not.
No, I believe he was a lap down.
I believe he's... Yeah. He came down with Zach. Ricky Collette moving into the picture here, getting a tow off a Hazard. Could be a race here between the 1 and the 57 for the victory. Davey really moving out of the way.
Focus on staying ahead last time by 6.7 back to Antonio Ruiz in that second pack.
Just not enough time, Weaver, for that second pack to get to them.
I don't think so. They're definitely going to have to stay in line until the very end. They'll only start racing then.
So Steven Merzlak came into the night wanting to get another solid run, a good finish. This one team has won a couple races this year, but trying to get another one tonight at Talladega. 1.5 laps to go, holding off part-timer Ricky Collette sitting there in second. Big move to the outside of the 16. Hazard pushing the 57 right now. Wonder if what Davey does sitting there third in line, because he does not really have a horse in the race in front of him. Coming to the line this time, though, it will be the white flag displayed. 1 lap to go here from Talladega. And remember, folks, the start-finish line, it's not in the middle of the tri-oval. It's down here off the exit.
I tell you who's got to be heartbroken right now, DJ Harris. He's even running with these guys. If he knew he was on the right strategy, he can see them. They're the only two running for the win right now. That could have been him. He could have been third in this picture, but see Davey Hazard backing off, gonna let these two race it out themselves.
Ricky Klett with a big push to Steven Merzlak down the back straightaway. Wonder if he just gave up his chance to win the race. Going to run a little higher here through 3 and 4 to get one last big run at the one car. Coming off
trying to set him up.
Coming off of turn number 4. Steven Merzlak with the lead, executes the strategy to perfection, and coming to the line, it will be the one car. Steven Merzlak taking home the victory here in Talladega.
A win on strategy to Super Speedway. You don't see it too often, but you just saw it here. Steven Merzlak taking home the victory in the Mobile One Toyota.
I believe Darren Ingram ends up getting third. So we'll talk with those podium finishers here. And with 31 votes, would you consider Tony Stewart an IndyCar driver for SRX? 64% of the vote says no, Weaver, so I was right.
I don't know. I think that's a bigger split than you would have made it out to be.
Yes. Yes, yes, but I'm still right. You are wrong. In the end, that's all that matters according to Bristol.
I'm still going to call that as me covering there, Joe. Also, looking back at it, Antonio Ruiz was able to pick up third. Darren Ingram not able to get by him on the outside there coming to the line.
Ricky getting reports from the 57 was on fumes. I believe the 1 has run out of fuel. Never mind, he's burning it down. What a moment.
A tough season, tough couple seasons it's been for Steven Merzlak. Really been down on himself lately. Doesn't feel like he has had it too much lately, but he had it tonight. Executed the strategy to perfection, gets the win. No, this is a bittersweet one for that one team.
So Merzlak, your winner. We'll get our post-race results on your screens momentarily. We'll send you to one of those quick little YouTube ad breaks as well. As always, though, cannot thank you enough for tuning into JTN tonight. Make sure if you haven't already, you drop a like on the video and subscribe. It does so much to help support us here on JTN. It helps us with that almighty YouTube algorithm. It gets these streams out to more and more folks. Remember, hitting that like button is, of course, the best way to help support us here on JTN. So, Weaver, as we sit here getting the results ready, we're going to go 1 to 3, because that's kind of been tradition as of late. But, man, I mean, it was just one of those knockout, drag-out type of races. No thoughts?
I'm sorry, Joe. I was just catching up with some of those radio talks we were talking about earlier. Could you repeat it for me? I'm sorry.
Were things not going well?
Just a lot of communication there amongst the drivers there, talking about how good the race was for them or how bad it was. You never know.
Always got to appreciate the drivers looking out for themselves. Race tonight, how would you sum this one up? Because it was definitely, if you look at the other 3 Super Speedway races we've run this year with the USORL, this one definitely sticks out as being different. to say the least.
It does, Joe. I think the best way to put it tonight is we've shown why they normally run 1X wear and not 2X. A lot more pit stops than they were expecting. A lot of field splintering through the race. Don't think it's exactly what they looked for, but that was it was still a pretty fun race to watch there, Joe. We got to see some strategy play out at the end there and see who can make the least amount of mistakes through the race.
Well, folks, gonna get those results. Here they are on your screens now. Go ahead and start by talking with our race winner driver, the number 1. I said it was the Lowe's car a couple times, but it in fact is the Mobile 1 Toyota. Steven Merzlak. Steven, you got a copy?
Oh, I got you guys loud and clear.
Well, before the race, you seemed pretty confident in getting the chance to talk with us, wanting to get the chance to talk with us, and boy, howdy, you did it. How'd you do it?
Well, I've been really practicing on these plate tracks, getting the strategy down pat. It's just the last couple races, the luck doesn't follow your way. It's just one of those things you got to get all the puzzle pieces to fit together and make sure you're in the right spot at the end, and we finally got one of those to go our way.
How many pieces do you normally like in your puzzles?
1,000?
Okay. Got a big brain over there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but
That's your library.
Obviously,
Work out
Steven.
every day there.
Steven, obviously not running for the championship this year. That's kind of been the common thing these last couple seasons after the title there in season 6. What does this change the outlook for season 9 later on when we start it this year or next year or whenever we start it? I know that's always a fluid situation, but does that change the outlook? Is there still a drive to want to win another one of these titles, win a bunch of races, or is it more so now about continuing to pick and choose the events where you and your team feel like you could be the strongest?
See, this season was more of a transitional one where I'm just trying to get my bearings on why I'm doing this in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
The start of the season was obviously rough, but in the last month or two, I've finally started to see that passion come back, and I'd like to start making a run at a full season again. Even if it's not just for the win, it's just because I want to be there and I want to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, the plan is to run full-time in Season 9, depending on how things go with my deals outside of racing.
Right. Have we figured out those deals outside of racing?
Well, I mean, just besides school and work and all that stuff, if I can get the schedules to align and I can race regularly, then I will.
Okay. All right. Well, we're wishing you well on that journey. We're glad to see you doing well here on this journey in the sim racing sphere, Steven. Congratulations on the win here tonight. Played the strategy to perfection. Come down to the end of this one. Before we let you go, though, the floor is yours. Shout out that design page and all the folks that help you get here on track.
Gotta thank everybody at Apex Motorsports back at the shop. It's obviously been a rough season for us, but we finally got one of these. We've been working hard all season long. We've been working so hard, and for Sean and Austin and all those guys, I'm just so thankful that we finally got something to pay off this season with how much we've been putting into it. Gotta thank Mobile One for continuing to sponsor me through this season, through this tumultuous season, and everybody else that's supporting this team. Just keep plugging along. As long as the drive's still there, the results will come with it.
And remember, folks, you can follow Apex Graphics on Twitter. I got that.
Oh, yeah. Do that.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Do that.
Do that. But, Steven, once again, congratulations on the win here tonight. We hope to see you on track more throughout the rest of the season. We hope to get the chance to talk with you before all is said and done at Homestead in just about a month.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for bringing me up here.
Steven Merzlak, your winner here tonight from Talladega. Let's go ahead and next bring in our colleague, and oddly enough, our second place finisher tonight. Tonight was the driver of the number 57 GWB Toyota, Ricky Collette. Ricky, I I know normally you're pretty quiet when we do these interviews. Now you have to talk as the driver in this case. But how was that race getting back behind the wheel here on a super speedway?
Oh man, it felt good, Joe. I mean, you got me at a good time here. Now I'm all talkative. That was it's been a while since I've been close to winning a race in any capacity, let alone on a broadcast. Usually I'm spun around in the back. So
I was gonna say
a lot of fun tonight. I really enjoyed it. It was a wild race. I don't know how well it was translating over onto the TV end there, but we were running some pretty high speeds. About 210 going down the straightaways in the draft. It was very much a lot of speed, but the draft wasn't a big suck-up, so you kind of had to pick and choose your battles on that. The tires had a lot of heat in them. The left rear would be cooking it at about 250 all the way through by the end of the run, so there was a lot of handling involved out there tonight. So it was a lot of manhandling that car to get it where you wanted to go.
Well, and to tack on to that point, a lot of drivers, and we saw folks normally 1X wear here on the super speedways, and I know you haven't run any of these this year, so maybe not a big thing for you, but did you notice that with some of your competitors maybe being thrown for a loop, having the 2X wear compared to the 1X?
Well, it's funny, because you say that we got probably, 3 laps into the race under green conditions before somebody went, is it 2X? And then there was just a resounding, like, wait, what? So I think everyone was thrown off a little bit. I haven't I haven't done it in a while, so I kind of didn't even think about it. But man, I don't think I could ever replicate again the fact that I just did like 6 consecutive green flag pit stops without missing a single beat on any single one of them. Especially the last one that was completely on worn rubber. But man, there was a lot of strategy there. I got to give a big tip of the cap to Steven Merzlak, who won the race there. I wasn't hanging back on him at the end. I was definitely trying to race him. When you're only 2 guys there, you don't have any draft behind you. It's you can't really do a whole ton. But he was the mastermind between those last 2 runs. When we came in on that last pit stop, I got a whisper from him being like, because we came down, I think, on the same cycle. I got a whisper from him just being like, lap 96, half a tank, no tires, and nothing else. And I was like, all right, he knows what he's doing. I'm just going to follow him. But we took it to the ragged edge there. He was basically out of gas when we came to pit road that last time. Coming around there, I was running on fumes. I had to imagine he was running on fumes there too. So I kind of was pushing him down the back straightaway because the last thing I wanted to do was get out from behind him, get out in that clean air, and then immediately have my fuel mileage drop to more than a gallon a lap, because it dropped really quick as soon as you got out of the draft there. So it was I got to give him a big thanks there. He definitely orchestrated that whole thing. Otherwise, I would have probably been mired in the back. But a lot of strategy there. It was a lot of fun. Very crazy for how tepid it was on track.
Well, and do you think you did a better job than the guy that was originally slated to be in this 57 would have?
Oh, I don't know. You didn't know. I think I was definitely taking a page from Tommy's book there. I was definitely trying to be proactive with my moves. There were definitely a few moves I took there tonight where I don't know if you saw earlier on, I was pushing Davey a lot, and then he started pushing me, but then I started trying some lines, and he kind of left me there. There was a point where he was like, all right, I love you, but I don't want to run that line. And I just kind of kept looking around. I was, and I want to get him a good point stay on that car, and just keep him and the owner's points there. I wish we could have gotten him the win, but, second place isn't bad to keep him on the pylon there, so I think Tommy would have may have been able to best me on that still, but glad to see I could do a good run for him there.
Well, Ricky, as always, pleasure talking with you. More so after the race, because it's always good to hear the joy in your voice after one of these races. Congratulations on the second place run here tonight. Before we let you go, though, floor is yours. Shout out all those sponsors, family, friends, whoever you got. Floor is yours, buddy. You know how this works.
All right, well, first of all, I just want to thank everyone that was watching there. Saw a lot of faces in chat. Was trying to keep an eye on the robots while racing.
They came in at the end, man.
Yeah, they came at the end. I started getting them, but I really want to thank everyone watching. And this was a fun one, and glad to see that we were able to put on a great show there. But in terms of the car, I got to thank everyone on track that I was working with there. Davey was a huge help there. When he went a lap down, he was still giving me pushes. Steven for basically being like, all right, you're out here with me. All right, well, let's go on a pit cycle, because I totally attribute this second place to him, because otherwise I was trying to do like quick math in my head to try to figure out how many tanks I would have taken. I would have probably taken a can of fuel and been behind all of those guys if I hadn't been told not to. But I want to thank all those guys. I want to thank DJ for giving me a lot of pushes early on in the race. I really didn't return the favor the way I should have, so I owe him one on that. But then, I want to thank Tommy for letting me drive his car, trusting me with his fine automobile there. It drove fantastic tonight. It was a lot of fun. And all the great people on his car, the fine folks at TWBGardenLicensDirect.com. You know the sponsors, Joe. You name them off every week. We name them off all the time, but give them another big shout out there. And just, again, thank the fans for watching tonight's race. Hope you had a fun time, and hopefully we can put on another great show for you again. I don't know when we're doing it again, Joe. Was it Sunday, Monday?
Oh, we got another broadcast tomorrow night. Joseph Weaver up here at the booth once again with us from Knoxville. You'll be back with us Tuesday night because it's Maverick Night in America on Tuesdays here on JTN from Kentucky, and more great races coming up after that, Ricky. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, and once again, congratulations on the second place run here tonight.
Thank you again. Thanks for having me.
Ricky Collette, everybody. You know him, you love him here on JTN. He was your second place finisher here from Talladega. We're looks like Antonio Ruiz had some other business to attend to. You want to get a quick comment from our fourth place finisher then?
I had a lined up person for in place of Antonio there.
Okay.
I don't get to talk to her very much, but I thought this was a good time to do so.
Well, you got this. You got the interview, Weaver. You do it.
No. You're still the interviewer. I line up the interviews for you. I do your work.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, let's go ahead and bring in the driver of the 00, not the finish this driver was looking for tonight, Henrietta Bordeaux. Hen, you got a copy?
I do. Normally, if a 15th place finisher gets interviewed, it's because something bad happened.
Did something bad happen?
No, nothing really happened.
Okay.
That was, I guess, the best I can say about tonight. I avoided the first wreck, so I was happy about that. But I still am learning my way on and off pit road, especially off. And I probably could have been closer coming off of the pit road to stay in the draft. But, I mean, at this point, my main goal of the race is just to finish. So, I did my best. And, I mean, I finished. No damage, only a few laps down, so I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, the car was fast, just was in no driver's land for a while. So
I hear you. Well, let's talk about the season to date, because it's been a... correct me if I'm wrong. I never like to make the wrong statement, but it feels like at times this 00 team, you're still on that learning path. You're still taking that curve. What improvements from behind the wheel are you seeing week in and week out? I think we've seen improvements up here in the booth. Looks like a lot more comfortable around everyone, which I think that's the primary thing we're looking at here. But what improvements have you felt and seen behind the wheel for you and this 00 team?
I would say definitely, like you said, I am getting a lot more comfortable racing around people. Not maybe so much tonight, but in some of the more recent races, I've done some moves that the first races out I probably wouldn't have done. And they haven't come back to bite me too bad. And I also have not self-spun in a while, so that's good.
Positive.
We're getting there. I know I said this before, I think way back on like my very first interview, like in the retro series, but I mean, the main goal of this season was, of course, just finish the race, preferably without getting in a wreck, and if I am going to have a problem, don't take anyone with me. And so in that respect, I think we're succeeding. I do need to get a bit more confident still, and definitely with open setup stuff, I need to actually kind of figure that out, because Tommy is a great help, and we of course have the technical alliance with Tommy Bordeaux Racing and Star Racing. But I also need to learn some stuff on my own to be able to maybe get some setups that more to my liking. But overall, it's the Baskin-Robbins machine. It's been it's been good. And I mean, I've had fun. So that's the most important thing. And, I don't know how many seasons it's going to be before maybe we are up at the front week in, week out. But ultimately, at the end of the day, yeah, I just like racing. So as long as I can finish decently with a car that's not beat up, then we succeeded. And just, I mean, as long as everyone likes racing around me as well, then that's really kind of the ultimate goal. But one day, if I can get in victory lane, that'll be a goal.
I hear ya. Before we let you go, Hen, I want you to thank all those sponsors, those fine folks that get you out here to the track, but also take us through, because you had a very special livery on the car, a different livery than normal on that Baskin-Robbins Chevrolet.
We did. So obviously, it's of course, June is Pride Month, and so we had special Pride livery on the car. Every race, I actually have a Trevor Project sticker that's on the car. And next year, it's in the works, I'm still working on it, but next year we're working on a paint scheme for Pride Month that is going to be specifically the Trevor Project. So we're working on that. It's going to look very good on a Pontiac, is all I'll say. So, I mean, obviously, with Pride Month, but of course, any time in the year, Trevor Project, helping save not just young, but any, LGBTQ plus lives, any you can donate, support, that's very important, even outside of Pride Month. And of course, it's important to support, everyone to be themselves. And this league is really good about that. So I appreciate this league for that. They let me be myself, so I'm always appreciative of that. And happy for Baskin-Robbins to let us run this awesome paint scheme. So big thanks to Baskin-Robbins, Hen's Beverage Company. It's quality. And obviously TWB, who has been with us since the very beginning. And then, of course, family, friends, and everyone at JTN. And, of course, Tommy, who, is working his way back to the Carolinas. So miss you. But I know you're having a good time and are looking forward to it.
Well, Hen, as always, congratulations on the season to date. Love seeing those improvements. Love the dedication, the determination to continue to get better on the racetrack. And thank you so much for sharing about the paint scheme tonight and taking the time to talk with us after this one. I know it was a long, grueling race, and cannot thank you enough again for taking the time to talk with us.
All right, no problem. Thanks, guys, for broadcasting it, and hopefully we'll get on here some more this time in some top 3 finishes.
There we go. Henrietta Bordeaux, driver of the 00. Baskin-Robbins Chevrolet, your 15th place finisher. Got a comment from our 3rd place finisher again. Had to leave the Speedway pretty quick. From Antonio Ruiz, 11 car is really happy to have finished 3rd. And thanks, Darren and Noah, for working together so well. Could have gotten them at the end, but that's just racing. Can't wait for the next race and to finish the season off strong. Weaver, that's going to conclude our coverage, though, here tonight from Talladega. Folks at home, we cannot thank you enough for tuning in to JTN tonight. Would like to remind you, if you haven't already, click the like button and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and TikTok at JoeTowNetwork on all those beautiful social media platforms. Next time we're live, if you're on the East Coast, it's later on today at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be the Hobo Racing Truck Series live from Knoxville. Again, 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, June 19th. We are live with the USORL, I believe, 2 more times this year. One at the beginning of July, one at the end. Cannot recall the exact racetracks. Don't want to make a miscomment or tell you the wrong information, but you keep in tune with our social media. You'll be in tune with any time we're going live, especially here with the boys at the USORL. Remember, you can catch a bunch of USORL AlphaTauri Cup Series action live on Fast29. Again, youtube.com/Fast29, or just search Fast29 in the search bar at the top of your screens. Chris Pickett and Dan Ash are doing a great job of covering the AlphaTauri Cup Series here when we are not on the airwaves with the fine folks here at the USORL. With all that being said, though, folks, for everyone here at JTN, for Bristol, our producer, for Joseph Weaver, I've been Joe Towanski. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time live right here on JTN. So long for now, folks.
Yeah, and they're going to be 3 wide coming to the checker. Never mind, they're going to be...